Welcome to Civil Discourse Now. I'm Mark Small.
And I'm Paul Ogden.
This is very snowy, December 29th, 2012, Paul.
Yes, Mark. We had about 5 more inches last time.
And that means that if you're watching this from someplace where it's summer right now and it's warm and everything.
Like Australia.
Yeah.
Or the moon colony.
Or the Antarctic.
Ooh, moon colony.
Moon colony, that's a good point.
I like that.
We're going to talk today about different aspects of the year in review, but first, Paul wanted to let people know that next week we'll be streaming live on Indiana Talks, and that is an internet network that Gary Snyder up in the northern part of the state has started. So we'll be coming to you at 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturday.
And I think they replay it.
And this week, this show will be replayed a couple of times, but we're not going live this week on Indiana Talks.
We're going dead, though.
We are going to be talking about this year's. And it's going to be on 365 Live.
Live 365.
Live 365. I had that the other way. I had a 180 on that.
Yeah, that's, from what I hear, one of the highest rated internet radio shows.
Radio providers. So. Anyways, this week we're going to be talking about the year in. Did your phone?
My
go
cell
off?
phone beeped. I forgot to turn it off, Mark. I'm very sorry about that.
And I guess you don't have Dancing Queen as a ringtone like Newt Gingrich has.
What's wrong with Dancing Queen as a ringtone?
When Newt Gingrich has it, it's
so what?
Weird.
So he's got good taste in music.
Oh my, that's good taste.
Yeah. Okay.
I think we're losing our focus, Mark.
Okay. Let's get back to focus on what's important. We're going to talk about the people who died this year. Everybody's picked out the.
Sorry.
Why do you need music to play off your phone?
Turn it off.
Paul, you don't know how to turn off your. I
don't know how to turn off the music that makes no.
He only learned how to make a phone call on that thing a week ago.
I'm bad with technology.
Okay, the people who died this year. Shall we let one of our guests go first?
Sure, and we should introduce our guests.
And I apologize. Our guests are so regular on here and such good friends, and we've been talking before the show.
Friends, I don't know about.
Well, that's true. To my left is.
Do you really want to be identified with me?
No. You know.
That's right.
Jeff Cox. Jeff, what is your website?
Well, I got my law firm, jrcoxlawllc.com, and I got my blog, which I haven't updated in a little while, at No Boxes Allowed on Blogspot, and I got my book coming out next year.
And people can do pre-order right now, can't they?
They can do pre-order for the book right now.
And that's on Amazon.com?
Yep, it's called Rising Sun, Falling Skies, the Disastrous Java Sea Campaign of World War II.
So they don't have to type all that in to get the pre-order in. All they have to do is
type Rising Sun, Falling Skies.
Rising Sun, Falling Skies, and do you know what the price is online?
On Amazon,
yeah.
The hardback is right now $19.99.
Can they get an ebook?
That's planned.
Okay. Matt Stone
is. If they order it this year, they don't have to pay sales tax on it. You know, if you order in 2014, you'll have to pay sales tax.
Yeah, but that's waiting a year for his.
You technically have to pay sales tax. It's called use tax.
Oh yeah, you have to fill it out on your state.
Nobody does that. Yeah. We as attorneys recommend that everyone follow the law.
We do that.
You do that.
Yeah. And our other guest, Matt Stone. Matt, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
And Matt, what's your website?
indiestudent.blogspot.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at indiestudent. And I
have a book?
Yeah, I do not have a book out. No, I do not have the patience for a book. I
read a book.
I'm reading right now. Actually, I got the John Meacham.
You know how to read?
I know, right? It's amazing. I got John Meacham's new Jefferson book for Christmas, so I'm gonna start on that pretty soon. I am rereading his Andrew Jackson book.
I've read that.
Which, Andrew Jackson's probably one of my favorite non-Civil War presidents to read about. But
the guy that decimated the Seminoles and just kind of did what he wanted with the Constitution.
There was really only one Civil War president.
Well, yeah,
Well, did the start
Johnson.
Well, anyway, we're getting off track. Who died this year, Mark?
Okay, well, a whole bunch of people died.
And a lot of people have been dying right to the deadline here.
Well, because they die on a regular basis during the year, Paul.
But how many of them become undead? At some point, we need to talk about the zombie apocalypse.
There's a whole show dedicated to that now.
Right. Abraham Lincoln became one of the undead in a movie this year, and that
was better than the actual Lincoln movie.
Okay. All right.
Was it Kobe Bryant said that a number of the Lakers, they went to see the movie together, Lincoln, and a number of them were shocked by the ending?
Yeah.
No kidding. He said that.
Wait, the ending of the Lincoln movie or the Lincoln zombie movie?
The end of the Lincoln movie.
All right.
That's
Let Mark go first.
Yeah, but I was just going to go through a list of the people, an overall list of the people who died.
That'll take it.
Andy Griffith, Dick Clark, Whitney Houston, Joe Paterno, Neil Armstrong, Robert Bork, Ravi Shankar, Larry Hagman, Dave Brubeck, George McGovern, Alex Karras, Phyllis Diller, Gore Vidal, Sherman Helmsley, Sally Ride, Osama bin Laden, Ray Bradbury, Richard Dawson. Answer is George Lindsay, Judy, Junior Seau, Mike Wallace, Andrew Breitbart, Davy Jones, Ben Gazzara, Jack Klugman, Charles Durning, and General Schwarzkopf.
You hit Whitney Houston.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Okay.
You hit her twice?
Well, do you want me to go first?
No, we had said we were going to let our
Okay.
guests go first
All right.
to be polite, Paul.
Well, I would
You got
say
cat
that,
hair on your shirt, by the way. I can see
yeah,
it.
that's because I have 3 cats.
Yeah,
Yes. And, well, 2 of my favorite singers went Whitney Houston and Donna Summer. And right now we're still not sure what killed Whitney Houston, although we kind of expected it given her lifestyle with drugs. She had the best voice of my generation. When I was still in junior high and high school, was when she came out as a singer, and she had just an incredible voice. And it was sad to see that all wasted on drugs and alcohol and all the problems that she had. Donna Summer did a lot to change music from the disco era, but she kind of morphed. She started disco in the late 70s, early 80s. Then it went sort of more techno with She Worked Hard for Her Money in 1983, which was still dance at the end of the disco era. Her last top 40 single was 1989, actually, with This Time It's For Real. So she was she had a pretty long career for a dance singer, and she formed the basis for today's techno pop and house music, the dance music that I like, that no one else in Indianapolis seems to like.
Sure.
And she just got inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which is richly deserved. I think probably the biggest death that I can think of this year would probably be a pretty underrated one, at least by political standards. It would be Junior Seau. He committed the former linebacker for the USC and then the San Diego Chargers, his hometown team. He had a restaurant in San Diego, which I went to. It was very good. It closed just after he died from suicide. And it became apparent that he was having some severe mental issues. This looked at if you examine the evidence of his behavior over the past couple of years, this was apparently his second attempt at suicide. He drove off of a cliff in San Diego. It wasn't a very high cliff, though, actually, and it was in Carlsbad, in the outskirts of San Diego. He drove off a cliff, and it wasn't very high, and he didn't kill himself, but it was a cry for help. And he ended up killing himself this year, and they're thinking it was multiple concussions that were not diagnosed during his career. This makes him the second high-profile NFL player, former NFL player, I should say, to commit suicide. Another one was Dave Dorson, who said that his mental problems were causing him such severe issues.
And Jim McMahon from the world champion 1986 Chicago Bears also has said he has severe problems with memory, all related to concussions that he received as a player.
And Nick Webster, the Steelers center from their Super Bowl teams, he just seemed to go crazy, Mike Webster rather, in his last years. And now they're starting to say, well, that was concussions, or that was maybe not concussions, but repeated hits to the head. And so now you're seeing this big push in the NFL to treat concussions, but you're also seeing a lot more players on the field laying down, being brought up by golf carts, being given concussion tests. And I think the death of Junior Seau really brought it home to people that, and I love the NFL, hence the Chargers gear that I have on, that this sport is getting very, very dangerous.
It's always been dangerous. It's just that they're finally recognizing now the long-term effects of some of the injuries that the players have had.
But the players are a lot bigger now.
Players are a lot bigger and a lot faster.
Yeah, but the padding isn't as heavy as is heavier than it used to be. I mean,
well, it's more protective now.
Yeah, I think that there are a combination of things that come together, but I think that there's more of a recognition of the problems that the people have had.
I think it's important to remember the NFL, especially when when we talk about the other issues surrounding the NFL, like the sports teams and negotiations with city municipalities. I always feel it's important to not demonize the players, because I think the players, especially when they had the NFL negotiation with the union and stuff, it's the players that really have a short time to really play.
Less than 4 years.
Well, I'm not a big sports person, but I'm not a big fan of extending the season and stuff like that.
I agree with you on that, but I take issue with one thing you say, and I'll get to that in a second. But
let's get to your fourth person after.
But just to make the point, people don't like seeing these players go down on the field, and they're getting very scared to have their kids play football, and so the future of football as a sport in North America has been compromised, because you're going to have
the high school level.
That's the issue, that people aren't going to have their kids play football anymore because of the dangers, and so and that's something to look at in the future. The fourth person, and this is where I take issue with you, Marvin Miller, former head of the Major League Baseball Players Association. He's credited with the Curt Flood issue, getting players out of the reserve clause and getting them free agency to go to any team they liked. But I would hold that no single person has done more to destroy sports in this country than Marvin Miller. Baseball as a sport outside of New York and Boston, a couple of the big markets, is pretty much dead because the teams don't have a chance to compete. Well, St. Louis. Teams don't have a chance to compete.
Well, wait. No. Baseball's not pretty much dead. It's that
it's no longer that it's the pastime.
It's no longer the national pastime.
Well, no,
and you also have other factors involved, like soccer is catching on because culturally it's more accessible.
No, people don't watch soccer. People don't watch soccer.
Kids play it, but third,
they don't watch it.
There's another factor involved. It's in terms of what people watch on TV. Baseball is not as fun to watch for people on TV as for most people. A lot of people don't like watching baseball on TV. They go to a game, they're live at a game, it's a different experience. They watch a game on TV, they get bored.
But they support teams. And because of baseball's economics, which were put in place by Marvin Miller and his protege, Don Fair, the only teams that can compete on a consistent basis every year are the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Braves.
Excuse me, the Yankees.
And the teams that have a structural advantage because of money. And that's because Marvin Miller and Don Fair refused a salary cap. And they fought against revenue sharing. They fought against anything that would save baseball. Things that made football great, things that...
and competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the things that made football great and competitive, it was TV. When Pete Rozelle came in as commissioner of football in the 1960s, he saw a sport that was beautifully situated to be marketed on TV and set it up as the major sports industry to do that. We're almost at the end of the first segment, and we're going to come back to dead people. Matt's favorite people who died in the year 2012.
Wow, that sounds morbid.
Well, I know, it does sound. It is your favorite dead people. Necrophiliac. We'll be right back.